And Mike Huckabee joins us now from Myrtle Beach. Governor, thanks for being with us, getting up early with us this morning.
All the time, Karen. Always up early in these campaigns.
Yeah, absolutely. Bed late and up early. Well, you know, you took some criticism at last night's debate about the raising taxes as governor of Arkansas. And last night, Fred Thompson suggested that you only signed a pledge to not raise taxes as president because of some pressure. So let's listen to what he said.
He said it'd be a dangerous thing to make a tax pledge because you couldn't foresee what was going to happen in the future. Well, what happened in the future was that later on that year, when the pressure got building, he signed the tax pledge.
Can you clarify this morning for us where you stand on not raising taxes?
Absolutely, Karen. And you know, Fred's finally waking up and kind of realizing there is a race going on. But after 8 years in the Senate, I guess he has nothing to show for it other than he attended some meetings and cast some votes, made a few trips, and became a Washington lobbyist, because he's not told us one thing he did in 8 years as a senator. He has attacked me. And the point is, if he'd look at my record, he'd know that he's really needing some folks to come off the writer's strike and give him some better lines. Look, here's the facts. The fact is, I did make that pledge not to raise taxes at the federal level because we don't need to raise taxes. In fact, if anything, it would be devastating to our economy to raise the marginal tax rates right now. So I took that pledge. I mean to keep it. In fact, my tax plan would eliminate the IRS. It would have us go to a consumption tax, and we wouldn't be paying taxes on our productivity.
There have been some critics of your fair tax plan, though, as well, saying that it would hurt small businesses and it would open up the doors to black market on sale goods. People will find a way to cheat that way. What do you say to that?
Totally opposite. In fact, it would be the best thing that ever happened to small business. The reason that my campaign is catching fire is not because of evangelicals, it's because of small business owners who make up 80% of our jobs in this country. Ask them what's tough for them, and they'll tell you it's government paperwork. The fact that their toughest competitor isn't the guy across town, it's their own government. The tax system, the complications of it, the cost of compliance, $250 to $500 billion a year just to comply with 66,000 pages of the tax code.
Right, but Governor, but
small business would benefit greatly if they didn't have that incredible burden of the paperwork.
Let's say you're struggling, you're working, you're working to put your kids through school or to pay your mortgage, and if you know you're going to be taxed, let's say 30% on everything you buy, wouldn't it make sense that you would stop buying as much?
Well, first of all, it's not 30%. Secondly, you get your whole paycheck, something that no American worker gets. Thirdly, when you don't have corporate taxes, which are now folded into the cost of everything you buy at the rate of about 22%, then the items that you buy actually end up being less expensive more than they used to be, and American-made goods will finally be competitive because things shipped in here don't have the value-added tax, let's say, from Europe. But American-made products do have that tax built in that people never see. The other piece about the fair tax that really makes sense is that it untaxes the poor, the elderly, and the low income because of the prebate provision, which gives money back on the front end for things like medicine, food, basic necessities of life. So it actually helps the people at the bottom most, and that's why folks out there who are struggling just to make their rent payments, a lot of single moms, small business people embrace this. It picks no winners and losers. It's a lot better than the system we have now. 80% of Americans say our current tax system is broken, and surely something has to be better than the IRS.
You know, Governor, last night an attack ad started running in South Carolina by a 527 group called Victim's Voice, criticizing you as governor for allowing a convicted rapist to be released. That person then later raped and murdered a woman. Let's listen to a portion of that ad.
If not for Mike Huckabee, Wayne Dumond would have been in prison and Carol Sue would be with us.
Your other candidates are trying to hit you with criticisms that you're soft on crime. How do you respond to that?
Well, what a tragedy that happened. The fact is he was commuted by my predecessor, Jim Guy Tucker, when Bill Clinton was actually the governor. My heart goes out to this family, not only for the horrible loss, but, you know, the saddest thing in politics is when people take the grief of a family and then exploit that grief with misinformation in order to try to make a political case. I've never seen such desperation and such pathetic attempts to really politicize the murder of a young woman.
Did you support Dumond's release?
I supported his parole, not his outright release. actually denied his commutation 4 times, Kieran, and the ad doesn't tell you that. But here's the thing. If soft on crime, I'm the only person running for president, Democrat or Republican, that carried out executions, and I carried out more than any governor in my state's history. That's hardly soft on crime. Meth labs went down 48% during my tenure as governor. Crime was down. We had far more people in prison that we locked up than when I came into office. And that's, of all the things that are thrown at me, and a lot of them are right now, goes with the territory of being out in front. But the problem is, most of these things are really excuses when people don't have a reason to run. And all they can do is attack somebody else. And then they make up stuff like this, and it's unfortunate. And most of all, because of the tragedy that a family went through, losing a loved one, and then trying to make a political case out of it with these anonymous special interest groups. It's the state of politics, I think, that most Americans find disgusting.
Are you going to be allowing 527s on your behalf to run ads against your competitors?
We don't have any control. In fact, there have been a couple that tried, and we've asked them specifically, publicly, don't do anything like that. Stop it. I think they're horrible. It's one of the pieces of the McCain-Feingold Act that absolutely has just about destroyed politics in this country. People ought to stand up. They want to take an ad out. Tell us who you are. Quit hiding behind this nonsense. It's disgusting. I'd like to repeal it all.
Right.
Let every candidate put his name on his ad and either be honest about it or just don't talk.
Well, Governor, we're out of time. Wish we had more with you, but we want to thank you once again for talking with us this morning. Governor Mike Huckabee, presidential candidate in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina this morning. Thank you.